listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Not.
A pleasant good evening, everyone. Welcome to Over to You on this Saturday, the 7th day of February 2026. I welcome all of you to tonight's program. Those on the ground in Guyana, those in North America, the United States, Canada, among other nations in North America, all those out in the UK and across the continent of Africa and all across the world, the broader Caribbean that is joining us this evening. I say a pleasant welcome to each and every one of you. Welcome to Over to You, a program for the people, by the people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your investment. Please go ahead and share and like the broadcast. I will give you about 30 seconds to do so. While we wait for your other brothers and sisters to get in here so that I can do today's roll call. Again, good evening, good evening, good evening, all. Welcome to the broadcast. 1.4. All right. Okay. Let's see who's here this evening. All right. We are now on the heels of the 2026 budget presentations. All right. So lots to talk about. I'm going to give my opinion on the budget. I'm going to look at it from a holistic perspective and let you guys know what I think. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see who's here today. Let's start off with Mr. Puran Ramdas, Region 2. Guyana Region 2 is in the house. Miss Sandra Hanover, the freedom fighter. Yes, we're still in it. We're not going anywhere, Miss Hanover. Patricia Gilbert, welcome to tonight's broadcast. Marcus Paul, it's good to see you. Canarsie Brooklyn is in the house this evening. Paulette Hart, welcome to the broadcast. Francis Keith Rockcliffe, welcome to tonight's broadcast. I am here joining. All right. Melanie is in the house. Francis, it's good to have you here. Melanie is in the house. Melanie Damashano on the east coast of Demerara. Yes, right next to Nomprel and Paradise and all of them. Yes, I remember. Eva, good evening. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Mary Figueroa, our first Canadian in the house. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. June London, it's good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Yvonne Rodriguez, Barbados is in the house. Good to see you and a pleasant good evening to you. Jam Jam 5741, good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Karen Clark, always a pleasure seeing you here. The Honorable former Member of Parliament, Mr. Ernest Elliott, it's good to see you. A pleasant good evening to you, sir. Deslin Wilson, good to see you. Victoria is up in the house tonight. Lester Tom, good to see you. And yes, greetings to you also. Matthew Dennison, we going up the FDR Drive into Harlem, into the city of New York, Harlem. Matthew Dennison is here. Pleasant good evening to you, sir. Colleen Isaacs, good to see you. Sharon Griffith, 6516 in the house. Good to see you. The Honorable Mr. Victor Ben, 7804. Good to see you. That's our second Canadian in the house. Jillian Solomon, good to see you. Thank you for joining this evening. Emily Durant, always a pleasure having you here. Jennifer, 6076. Good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Rajin Bim, good to see you. Good evening, sir. It's a pleasure. Miss Rita Clark, always a pleasure having you here. Good evening. Lance Young, 5935. Good to see you. Good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Patricia Asano, always a pleasure having you here. The Honorable Mr. Keith Beresford, good to see you. Desiree Narine, welcome to tonight's broadcast. Look forward to your participation. Paula Mattis Peters, welcome to tonight's broadcast. Don Sampson, it's a pleasure having you here. Lawrence McKenzie, good night. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. The Honorable Mr. Carl Miller, good to see you here. Look forward to your participation. Michelle Liverpool, good to see you. Candy Naline Inderjeet, good to see you. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Millicent Ross, good evening. Welcome. Yvonne Meredith, good evening. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Miss Brenda Braithwaite, it's always a pleasure to see you here. Hope that all is well. Miss Linda Ford, welcome to the broadcast. Rosemary Martindale Brackett, it's good to see you. Jillian Solomon, good to see you. Freedom Life, good to see you. Miss Bonita Montague, good to see you. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Carolee Prince, welcome to tonight's broadcast. Maud Oliver, welcome. Morna Saul, welcome. Simone Jessamy, welcome to tonight's broadcast. Miss Annette Gordon and Miss Angelique Abrams, welcome to both of you. Marcus Skinner, welcome to the broadcast. Miss Denise Beard, welcome. Reggie Luke, good to see you. Freedom Life, good to see you. Shelly Dundas, good to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. All right, it's good to see everyone. Petulia Boyce, Gail Mingo, Millicent Ross, good to see all of you. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Please be sure to share the link and like the broadcast. Welcome to Over to You, a program for the people, by the people. Miss Fidel Albert, welcome in, welcome in. The Honorable Councillor, I think in the Tocqueville area, Mr. Dexter Fort. I hope I'm right, Mr. Fort. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I am looking for your comment to correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's a Tocqueville area. Miss Denise Booker, welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get it started here this evening. Maxine Monroe, I see you in the house. Let's get it started here this evening. We start in Parliament. I know when I left Straight Up earlier this week when I presented, Miss Desiree Smart Felix, welcome. When I presented earlier this week, I promised you guys that I would hit on the presentations by the MPs, but I thought about it and I said to myself, you know what? To go through every presentation and hit on points, I said, why am I doing it? I think, you know, when you do work, guys, you got to think about the purpose of your work, okay? When you work, you have to work with purpose, you know? Where am I trying to go? What is it that I'm trying to present? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start with the fundamentals of how budgets are presented in Guyana. Okay? I believe that it is very idiotic and backwards the way it is done. All right? And you might want to say, well, Wayne, why do you think this way? You guys know that I'm a free speaker and I'm not going to hold back anything. I'm going to say exactly what I think, and I want you guys to come along with me. Thank you, Mr. Dexter Fort. Constituency 12, Tocqueville. So I got that part right. Good. Thank you so much, sir. All right. And it's good to have Mr. Dexter Fort here this evening. Yes, let's continue on the way budgets are presented in Guyana. All right. You guys would have recently saw that the US almost went into another lockdown, right? With government spending, right? And you see how those bills are passed, right? It takes two to tangle. It takes both sides. To vote, you need to get to a certain threshold to pass the bills. All right. We in Guyana, we need some serious constitutional reform and a lot of reform at the parliamentary level. You know, I try to listen into the budget and try to, entertain it as much as I can. But when I look, right, the depths and the flaws that I would have seen in the way that budgets are presented in Guyana, it's quite concerning. No, what I believe is that you can have a preliminary estimated budget available to all parliamentarians anywhere between the 15th and 20th of January, right? And just like how we showed up these 5 days for the budget presentation, right, and the arguments, then we should show up then for that preliminary budget to be presented, and then you listen to the arguments. Because I believe a lot that the opposition had to say made so much sense. Gives you now an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and make adjustments to that budget. What it's going to show? It's going to show inclusion. It's going to show that lead party in government is working with the opposition, is looking at views that are also coming from the other side, and not just have it in a stance of one dictatorial team saying, hey, this is going to be the budget. It is $1.558 trillion, whether you like it or not. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you guys something. A lot of times, you understand me, I am blamed. And, a lot of people take shots at me. Oh, Wayne, you come and you don't bring historical context. Ladies and gentlemen, when we're experiencing a situation today, I understand that to some extent historical context is important, but we all have brains. We have brain up here. We have the ability to think. All right? We have the ability to think, and that is what I do. I do not like to come and bring another man's work and present it. No. I study these things. Okay? While I do agree that historical context is important, we are talking about politics in 2026. All right? We need to keep up or we will be left behind. There needs to be significant changes in the way Guyana operates on a political front. The country is being robbed clean by the PPP. They are taking advantage of the statutes that are currently in place, which are weak, okay, and to some extent, ladies and gentlemen, is not applicable to what we are seeing today. All right? We need to get better. We need to fight for reforms. We need to fight for the way government operates, for the way budgets are presented. Ladies and gentlemen, I also believe that ministries in the government should be split on a pro rata basis. All right? I believe that the opposition parties should be given a ministry or two with a budget to operate. You need to put everyone to work. For example, if the opposition would have had something like GPL, it would have been in much better shape. But look where we are today. And you guys heard what Charles Ramson said in his presentation. He said that we're not spending enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Guyana has a very large credit card at the moment. Okay, credit card, ladies and gentlemen. You know what credit card means, right? We go out there and we purchase something with a credit card. We're literally borrowing money. All right? That's not our money. That's an investor's money. And when you pay a credit card, ladies and gentlemen, you pay that credit card with interest, right? And if your credit report is not up to a certain standard, there are limitations in how much you can borrow, right? I hope I'm getting this all correct. All right? So right now we have a very good credit card, and you guys may say, well, Mr. Cecil, why is it that we have a large credit card? That credit card is based on our oil reserves. Right? And the potential that we're going to be able to extract that oil, and it's going to be pulling in the necessary revenues to make sure that the investors that we are borrowing money now to fund the $1.558 trillion budget that would have just came out, they are able to replenish their capital and also their return on capital, which is the interest. Oh yes, there's going to be significant interest in this borrowing. So that is why it is important, ladies and gentlemen, I feel that everyone should be playing a role in budgets going forward. That way, when we borrow, we are borrowing together. It is not that the PPP is unilaterally putting out these large budgets, borrowing the money, and then everybody's responsible for paying it back. The future generations, the burden is left on them. Well, all right, I'm going to just look at what? Let's just look at 2020. 2020 to 2026. Okay? 2020 to, yes, let's do that. 2020 to 2026. $6.1334 trillion. When you aggregate the budgets from 2020 to 2026. $6.1334 trillion. All right. And they're lopsided, favorable to infrastructure. Can you guys show me the structures that you see that can account for all that money? Every budget, over 50% has been allocated to infrastructural work. Every budget. While the human capital continues to punish. Again, like they would have went out and said they're putting goals program in place and all of these kind of things. We have experts in Guyana who can teach. We do not need to go externally to educate our people. We should have had a law school right here, right there in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. But ladies and gentlemen, you can't get that because people are working behind the scenes with their friends to make sure that our students have to go to Trinidad and Jamaica and these other places to get their law degrees. People are working together instead of us building out our own institutions in Guyana. Why can't people from the broader Caribbean come to Guyana to study law? Why can't the people of the broader Caribbean come to Guyana to study oil and gas and these type of things? Why can't they? Why don't we have institutions on the ground in Guyana that is literally teaching oil and gas? You got people like Dr. Adams there. Why you don't take advantage of the expertise? Because you're biased. Because every project that is good must be a PPP project. This is proven. By the way, the school buses for the children were shut down. Instead of that, you prefer to allocate out of the budget 11.7, wrong the $12 billion for a Because We Care cash grant, which opened up the door so wide for corruption. Correct, Mr. Ford. More production, less failure. When all hands are on deck and responsibilities are shared. Here you have somebody, here you have a counselor from the APNU side, okay, that is agreeing that responsibilities should be shared. And then you have lead party looking at opposition, holding opposition accountable, and then you have opposition looking at lead party, and then all parties should come together as one unit to deal with finance. Because, ladies and gentlemen, even those who are in marriages on this program, you guys know the role that finances play. All right? People like to keep a close eye on finances. All right? People like to keep a close eye on finances. You see the current format, ladies and gentlemen. The current format aligns with the PPP vision. One Guyana, focus on one ethnic group. Okay? One ethnic group must benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, it cannot be that there was a very strong lightning flash across Guyana. Right? That shows a massive disparity between Guyanese of East Indian descent and Afro-Guyanese when it comes to large business ownership, amongst other things, the ability to procure loans at the banks, and all these different things, the ability to own homes. It cannot be a lightning flash, ladies and gentlemen. This is by the design of the PPPC. The Honorable Dr. Ashni Kumar Singh, last night in his budget as he was closing off, and this caught my eyes. He said, when the data that reflects this 58% poverty rate and this 32% extreme poverty rate was extrapolated, it was between the years of 2016 and 2021. And it was key to point out that was at New Year's 2016. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here I will correct the Honorable Minister. Sir, APNU took power in 2015. 2015, 2016, 1.5, 2 years. You cannot do anything in those times to eradicate poverty. But Mr. Ashni Singh, the PPP would have sat there 23 years before 2015. So, sir, it is the PPP that is responsible for that poverty rate. There is no way that you're changing that in 2 years. So while you're looking to pivot and move the blame, I'm taking the blame and put it right back at you guys' feet. And you guys are saying that you're not responsible for this current 58%. Oh, yes, you are. You had 5 years. Fastest growing economy, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I said it before and I say it again. Sometimes, right? Accountants, they call us economists also. Sometimes I'm forced to question the approaches, the economic approaches, because I don't understand how you could deem a country the fastest growing economy, and one of the criteria does not include the way the people are living in the country, or let's say the poverty rate. That should be one of the requirements. That should be part of the requirement when you're doing such an evaluation. Right? Sometimes we have to be open to change some of the approaches we take. We cannot just take these things and make it gospel. It's just like the way we're presenting budgets in Guyana today. The budget is already approved, signed off. And then you come and you place arguments. What sense? It absolutely makes any sense. What are you arguing for? Nothing is going to change. What, they're going to change it 5 years after at the next budget presentation? By the time the next budget presentation the next year, by the time the next year budget presentation come around, everybody already forgot what was said the prior year. But if the PPP, right, let's say they're working together and their thresholds set in how budgets are passed. If the PPP say, well, we want to spend 50% on infrastructure again, then the APNU would count and say, well, we're not signing off on that until you guys do these things for us with regards to human capital in Guyana. That makes it more of an even and equal playing field. All right? Because then you don't just get what one party or one set of people wants, but it will be an all-inclusive budget. Right? Like how the US Congress would have just voted on the spending bill. And I would like all the leaders, all parties across the board in Guyana to please take a look at your own country. You cannot let people come from outside and tell you how to run your country. How can you be living in a country and somebody from outside knows more about your country than you do? We have to stop playing second fiddle to people and use our own brain, okay? And figure out what our country needs, what our people need, and what is the best approach to govern in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I have had 5 good years to look at this. This is my 6th year doing this. And the road that we're going down, the trend that we're taking, is going to lead us to nothing. There's not going to be any change. Okay? There's not going to be any change. The PPP continues to undermine and fool the people with their propaganda. And the Guyanese people continue to fall for the same thing over and over again. We've got to show as a people that we're educated, we're ready to hold government accountable, and we're ready to pivot away from any government that is not working in the interest of all Guyanese. We have to be ready to do that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to turn to the issue of Sophia. Sophia and the squatters. You know, I was busy at work, but I was able to peep in on Dr. Dexter Todd. I believe it was him. I am not sure if the Honorable Shara Duncan was there also. But it was on credible sources yesterday. I don't know how many of you got a chance to peep in on that. Yes, Sister Charlene A. Moses, I am going to put it on the floor. You know that's what we do. We put it right on the floor. It needs to be on the floor so that everyone can see it. Yes, space and power. Now, what I saw, ladies and gentlemen, now you see, we want to talk about fastest growing economy. People want to get up in Parliament and abuse other people and do all these type of things. But when you look at Parliament and people abusing people and all, that's not real Guyana. Real Guyana is the work that I saw Dr. Dexter Todd doing, and the work that I would have saw Brother Saiku Andrews doing. I think he was in the Blackbush Polar area where we had some cash crop farmers. This is Saiku Andrews and some rice farmers experiencing flooding. And even one of the farmers, she came out and she said she have her little piglets and stuff. And the big commodities are coming out of the water and wrapping our piglets and taking them. So could you figure if this woman has a young child, or maybe she have a child that have a young child, what can possibly happen there? Right. And we have a strong Army Corps of Engineers. They're doing excellent work out in Jamaica, right? But nothing for the normal folks in Guyana. Hey, PPP supporters, this is what you vote for. You vote for yourself. You don't vote for your Mati. You're not voting for a government to serve everyone. Because if you're voting for a government to serve everyone, I would not be talking about this issue today. I would not be talking about this issue today. Okay, Ms. Fidel Albert is confirming to me with the Sophia issue. Oh, okay. All right. I think she's talking about the Blackbush issue. All right. Annette Well is the first time I listen. All right, Annette Well, you tell me what you thought about the debate. Tell me right here. Annette said this is the first time she listened to a debate. Annette Bissasar Robinson, welcome to the broadcast. Yes. Now for Dr. Dexter Todd. He would have interacted with many of these folks on the ground in Sophia. And you know what's funny? I received a call from an individual in Sophia who was squatting. And she said to me, she said, Wayne, don't say anything about it now. Let's see if they're going to come and try to remove us. Then I want you to say something on it. I am not sure if they're in the area that she resides with her family. I believe 3 kids. And her significant other. Right? But anyhow, as Dr. Todd was going through and speaking to the residents, okay, who was very vibrant, very upbeat, you know, they are ready to make a stand. Ladies and gentlemen, I dropped about 2 comments on the program yesterday. And one of the comments that I had was that I believe that Sophia is a great place to make a stand. All right? We have given up too much. Every time the PPP infringe, we back up. They infringe, we back up. They infringe, we back up. Success. Blade North Strathspey. Mocha. Hillfoot. All right? And there are many other places. Linden. Bulldozed. Knocked down. No place to go. Well, here, I'm going to say this tonight. Guyanese, y'all need to step up. This y'all country. That's your, how do you guys sit down and allow a government to just come and move you guys? A government that is not providing, a government that is non-compliant. A government whose action is dictatorial. How can you just allow them to walk in and bulldoze and move you? Ladies and gentlemen, I call on all on sundry. I call on all opposition parties. Let's get in front of this. Let's take a frontal position. And let's one for one make a stance. Take a position. This is non-negotiable. This is non-negotiable. Had I been in government in Guyana, I'll tell you guys this. Or in parliament. I would not be able to go to sleep at night. because I'm not in government in Guyana, and I'm still unable to go to sleep in the night because when I saw Dr. Todd met with people, one lady had a 2-month-old baby, and they're living in bushes. You know what can be in those bushes? And ladies and gentlemen, you know, these people is diligently, ladies and gentlemen, move into these spaces, clear these spaces, put up their little huts, their little houses, and they're basically trying to survive in a world that is not for them. Land is not for them. When I see house lots advertising 50 million, tell me how one of those people are getting $50 million a house lot. I got a problem, man. I got a serious problem. All right? I got a problem. And when the shoes is on the other feet, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. Because you would have looked for exactly what you're getting. Your actions today, and I'm speaking to everyone on the government side, your actions today is not going to go without punishment. Your action today is not going to go without punishment. This and other programs are not going anywhere. The young people of tomorrow in Guyana will have access to these programs. They are not going anywhere. And they will get a good understanding of how you would have destroyed the lives of their parents. Oh yes, with your visionless attitudes. You guys make Guyana, where it's a country where you're importing foreigners who comes in and bring their wealth behind them, and they buy up everything, while there's not even a little crease for the poor. You build those low-income houses, as Brother Darwin Best showed. So many of them are unoccupied. They are unoccupied. And here you have all these squatters, right, in Sophia, that you want to bulldoze because you want the land that they clear. You know that when you go in on that land, you ain't going to find no big snakes and all these things because those people has inhibited those lands, cleared them, and has made them somewhat livable. Look, ladies and gentlemen, these people live without the normal basic facilities. They don't have light. They don't have water. They don't have anything. They got to fetch that. They got to... Look, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 24th century. This is the 24th century, and we quote Guyana again. We quote Guyana as the fastest growing economy. Right? And look how people are living. Well, to Marco Rubio and all, tag the State Department. Anybody who can tag them. Tag everybody in. All of you guys who come down the Heroes Highway and the other highways in Guyana. And you see the castles at the front. That doesn't represent the greater proportion of Guyana. Okay? We are teetering, all right, on a 60% poverty rate. You need to go behind the castles. You see, sometimes it's not what you see at the surface. It is what's beneath. All right? It is what's beneath. We have to keep fighting, Guyanese. We cannot give up. Guyana belongs to you. How can you give up? How can you give up? That's not an option. That's not an option. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I've went ahead, not the past week, but the week before. And I've called for certain fundamental changes at the party level. Because it is only you that the Guyanese people can depend upon. The APNU needs to come back. It needs to come back strong. The APNU is the main vessel that carries democracy in Guyana. Listen, when you look at the APNU, that party is fearful of the Guyanese people. And as a normal Guyanese, that's the party I want. I want a party that's going to understand, hey, you need to do for me and my family. We need to be able to have a proper life in this here Guyana. The PPP is fearless. They don't fear the Guyanese people. That's why they bulldoze you guys all the time. There is no fear there. The list is set. They have control of GCOM. Their people are the ones who have been enriched. So therefore, they have the economic balance in Guyana under control because they're the ones that have the businesses. We got to speak facts. We have to speak facts. All right? So they have no fear whatsoever. When Wayne Caesar come on, he say, human capital, PP, go, please. We have 60% in poverty. The next time the APNU or any of the opposition parties take the streets, and I'll say this, if the opposition parties are going to take the streets, for once, take the streets as a collective, please. Please take the streets as a collective. You need to show some type of unity, man. I don't care how you all get it done. Get it done. All right, please. For the people. All right. Everybody in Parliament can feed their families. Some of us understand in Parliament what it was like to be poor and understand what it is to be poor. Please don't forget where you come from. All right? Please do not forget where you come from. Like who? Like who, ladies and gentlemen? Like Brigadier retired Mark Phillips? How dare you speak on the late, great Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham? How dare you? You know many things Guyanese would have had in the 70s and in the 80s and in these times. We had all type of facilities across Guyana. Guyana probably had the most players on the West Indies team. Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham is who the founder of CARICOM. He was a big player, not in just Guyana, but the Caribbean. And he stood up to many, many high-profile, large economies in this world. You know why? He believed that Guyana belonged on the same stage. You cannot question the vision of that man. Mark Phillips, what vision does your party have? We're the fastest growing economy and 60% in poverty. 32% in abject poverty. Mark Phillips, you were able to go to the Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst on the Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, where you graduated in the 80s. And then you come and you go to Parliament and you question the achievements of the great man? You question the achievements of the great man. Well, here, Mark Phillips, I'm going to say this to you. You don't have the right, you don't have the portfolio to question the late, great Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. I'm going to rebuff you with that. You're not even a person of impact in your party. You're a rubber stamp. Okay? When Irfan Ali is out of Guyana doing business, you're not even the next in charge. And you're, quote unquote, the prime minister. Yes, Marlon Thomas. He's a damn disgrace to African Guyanese. Yes, he is. And Rita Clark, I agree with you. He's very ungrateful. Very, very, very ungrateful. Navjo is telling me, saying to us here, Navjo, thank you for your comment. People have to come out and support one another when this government is misbehaving. Like the Honorable Mr. Victor Ben, who is present here, would have said, we need to lock hands and stand in solidarity. The Honorable Leader of the APNU, Mr. Aubrey C. Norton, the Leader in Parliament, the Honorable Dr. Terence Campbell. You guys need to put your heads together, right? And you guys need to come up with a formula where you guys can get your supporters in the diaspora to be done on the ground in Guyana, just like the PPP has theirs. You guys have to start evening out the playing field. All right? We got to make this a battle to see who's more effective. Don't worry, thing called money. Money is important. But there's ways to do it without money. Because the PPP have a wholesale of money at their disposal, but PPP don't know anything about managing money. Right? So the people of Guyana continues to punish. Very, very good, Mr. Dexter Ford. The holistic development of Guyana is not complex, but simple. However, it is made complicated by greed, selfishness, and a desire for superior, and most importantly, the inaction and division of the Guyanese people. Yes, this is absolutely accurate. Barry Jagdeo does an excellent job playing the race card, all right, in holding the sugar workers, that voting block. That's why so much money goes into Gaisuko to hold that block together, right? Greed, yes. Selfishness, of course. Desire for superior, to be superior, I would say desire for superiority. Yes. The East Indian race in Guyana must be superior to every other race. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We are all brothers and sisters. There are 6 ethnic groups. And our focus from since 2020, when we know that we were on the cusp of being a significant oil producer in the world and being on the world stage, being identified by so many high-end investors, we should have been ready to work as a collective, yes, Mr. Ford, in nation building. As a collective. Let me be frank with people, the people who are watching here, and I encourage you all to share this broadcast. You see, when it comes to nation building and being inclusive, APNU has no problem with that. Let's go under the umbrella, the APNU umbrella. The PNC has no problem with that. The WPA for sure have no problem with that. The same Dr. David Hines, who many of you in Parliament, you guys take your eyes and pass that big man. You understand me? To call him racist amongst other things. That same man there would have sat down and speak about nation building and inclusive governance, shared governance. Have you guys ever heard Barry Jagdeo utter those words? Be careful how you use the word racist. Be very careful. Please, do your homework. Barry Jagdeo has never said that the PPP has this initiative on the table and they have the full support of APNU. I've never heard that. If somebody has ever heard that, please help me here on the program. Dexter, I know that you're in in the mix. You've been in the mix for some time now. If you've ever heard something like that, Honorable Mr. Dexter Ford, please tell me right here. The PPP does not believe in nation building. The PPP does not believe in being questioned on any decisions that they make. I am of the opinion that the PPP believes that they are more superior than any party in the opposition. But I will say this, not because you would have allocated yourself 36 seats. It makes you more superior than the opposition. It doesn't. Okay? It just does not. Gonna take a quick peeking on your comments. Yes, Colleen Isaacs. LFS Burnham was the greatest. I can't argue with you. We have not seen another visionary since LFS Burnham. We have not seen anybody who is even worthy of wearing his little rubber slippers that he wore around the house. We haven't seen anybody. Okay? All right. Annette Bissessar, the love of money is the root of all evil. Yes. Of course. Of course. Ian Bino. Ian, I haven't seen you for a while on this program. Weighing the race card is a political tool in politics. So don't be upset. Yep. It is a political, it is, if we had the majority, we would be doing the same. While you say that, I am not certain, because the current makeup of APNU, from what I see, they are a fearful group. Okay? I believe that they're prepared to serve the expectations of all Guyanese. All right? They are prepared to serve the expectations of all Guyanese. Colin Barnwell, sugar workers are treated as sacred cows or the untouchables. Well, you see how much money is allocated to Gaisuko every budget. So that's protecting a voting bloc right there. Right? Look, I would like the PPP to come out and show us records of where they would have hit the international market and marketed our sugar and our rice. Show us where you guys are marketing Guyana sugar and Guyana rice. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's something called going to market. Okay? And when you go to market is when you deal and make deals with other countries. Okay, I'm going to take this from you, but my expectation is that you take so much of my sugar and so much of my rice. Okay? I have not seen that. I have not seen reports that the PPP has gone to market for Guyana rice and Guyana sugar. I have not seen it. We're still waiting to see. Gavin Caesar. That's another thing, Wayne. People make a post about the Mohammeds or repost something about him, and we are called racist. It's like we can't talk about people. We can talk about people, but not the Mohammeds. Mr. Gavin Caesar, to your point, there's nobody that should limit anybody from who they talk about and all this type of stuff. Politics is politics. Okay? If you have to bell the cat, then you have to bell the cat. There shouldn't be any hesitation. Your hands shouldn't be trembling. Do you see my hands tremble? You have to bell the cat, you have to bell the cat. This is not about any individual. This is about the Guyanese people. Once it's something pertaining to the Guyanese people and it's going to link to the Guyanese people, then you go ahead and bell the cat without even thinking about it. I bell the cat and I don't even worry about repercussions later. I don't worry about that. There's nothing to worry about. PPP have no vision. All they're good at is thieving and raping out our resources. Well, that's what they've been doing for the last 5 years, Miss Annette Bissessar Robinson. That is what the PPP has been doing for the last 5 years. They've been enriching themselves. There's no proper checks and balances. I don't know what they say. What they say they have to report their assets to the integrity something, some integrity thing there. Well, here. Wayne Caesar's here. Okay? And I'm going to say this. Whatever integrity commission that they're reporting their assets to here, I'm going to say it here and over to you. That's garbage. That is garbage. Okay? Who does the integrity commission consist of? Show me its members. Show me who's sitting there. Okay? Don't come and tell me anything but any integrity commission. I don't want to hear about that. Make the records available so that people like me can scrutinize them. Don't come and talk nonsense. Guyanese, stop believing these silly things, okay? Guyana is a nation. Nothing should be held private. You're a public figure. Then you need to go and report your assets. And it should be public knowledge. Integrity Commission? Get out of here with that nonsense. There's so much change that needs to happen. That DPP. The DPP needs to be a commission. A commission of individuals, not one person. How can the DPP be one person? That woman is biased. I am saying it right here and over to you. This 7th day of February 2026. The DPP decisions are erroneously biased. Continue, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing. I want to touch quickly, just real quick. I see it's 8:07. You know, the time just runs so quick sometimes. Right? The time goes by so fast, too fast for me. But I want to touch on something quickly. The permanent secretary within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Miss, you have some more sanctions in your hand. They've been there since November. I don't believe that these are things that you should hold. All right? We know that the current leader of the opposition, leader of WIN, is currently in court for sanctions before him. Let's not waste time. Let's not make the focus Azruddin Mohammed only. Let's put everyone out there. You have many high-ranking members in the Guyana police force that have sanctions and you still have them on the job. How come? That's a conflict of interest. As soon as you have sanctions against you, you got to go and leave. You don't need to be doing the Guyanese people business anymore. You've eliminated yourself from that. And what's going on with May Toussaint? What exempts May Toussaint? What's the exemption? What's the holdup? Let's get all these cases on the agenda. As far as I'm concerned, if the work is done properly, if the work is done unbiasedly, guys, I truly believe that we can lose up to 20% of the parliament, if not more. Because this run deep. Oh, this run deep. I can just tell you by looking at the surface that it goes deep. It goes deep. If we should really look at corruption in Guyana. Look, ladies and gentlemen, the Guyana Revenue Authority, to the GRA, and Mr. Stacia, I used to have a lot of respect for you. I don't know where that respect stands right now. I'm an honest, straight up guys, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know me. But to fire those employees is absolutely wrong. How can you fire them, okay, without looking at the people over them? You have the installed executive president of Guyana who was involved in all of this, along with the current leader of the opposition, Mr. Azruddin Mohammed. How do you exempt the two of them, but you fire the GRA employees? No, I am getting orders from my superior. How come I am getting fired? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. How come I am getting fired for taking orders from my superior? Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that I can say to that is that you need to know the laws. For example, as an accountant, when I am performing certain tasks, it has to be within the scope, whether if I'm doing taxes or I'm doing an audit, it has to fall within the scope of the statutes. Whether it's federal regulation I'm looking at or state regulation, it has to fall within the scope, or else it's incorrect. And you don't want to knowingly do something that you know is incorrect. And you just went ahead and do it anyway. Right? You don't want to be known for erroneously making errors that you shouldn't be making because you full and well know the statutes. But when a sitting president call and say, hey man, exempt this man from paying the additional 20 or 25 or 30 million. It's coming from way up. It's coming from the top. You got to move on it. That's shameful. All right. To all the high-level leaders at GRA, I believe that you guys have let your employees down. You have let them out there to dry. All right. If those employees that were fired was a part of this matter, all right, I believe that you failed them. And I believe that you're wrong. I believe that the Guyana Police Force have done a poor job. They should be looking into something like this. Right? But like I said, the laws in Guyana are applied differently. The rich are exempt. The poor are held to the blade. That is not fair. That is not fair. A sitting executive president. That's how low, ladies and gentlemen, our standards are in Guyana. All right? That shows you the non-compliant in how our laws are applied. Hmm. 14 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. I know it's 14 minutes after 9 in Guyana. The whole system needs to be reshuffled, Miss Colleen Isaacs. Miss Colleen Isaacs, the whole system needs to be washed with bleach and Jarvex and Marvex and all kind of thing, right? No, y'all agree with me. Mr. Colin Barwell, no, more than ever, the financial records of ministers and MPs must be made public. Anyone must be able to see their net worth as a means of checks and balances. Well said, Mr. Barnwell. Well said. Well said. You sound like a certified public accountant, sir. Well said. Oh, Mr. Victor Ben, we need a time extension sometimes. All right. Okay. All right, Mr. Ben. They are all birds of a feather flocking together. Yes, Miss Clark. Yes. If you've robbed the people of Guyana, whether it's way back when, whether it was yesterday, whether it was today, the bottom line is that you have robbed the people of Guyana. Birds of a feather flock together. I agree. All right. I totally agree with that. Gavin Caesar, unity is missing. Unity is what is missing in the opposition, my friend, my brother. Unity can only come if all the leaders want unity. If all the leaders are on board with unity. And also unity have to consist of a proper working relationship. Not anybody thinking that they are superior to the other. Okay? So it's a lot to go through there. Yes, Annette Bessasar Robinson, 19 fraud charges. Wipe right underneath the table. Wipe right under the table. Right? Wipe right under the table. But I must say, in the presentations, I love the fact that Dr. Dexter Todd brought up the situation of Adriana Young back to the table. And who is the person? Oh, James Bond. James Bond spoke of how Dr. Todd took Adriana Young's situation and made it political. Let me say this. Adriana Young's murder became political because the government of the day allowed it to go exactly there. Okay? Lack of a proper investigation, lack of proper measures taken by the government of the day to get that mystery solved. And I call it a mystery. We all know that she was murdered. Okay? All right. The government lapsed on that, and it had to become political. So, James Bond, you ought to walk that back and stuff it back in your pocket. You don't make sense with that. I think you might have just been looking for a talking point because you don't have much to say. You know that APNO is the better party for the people of Guyana if we're looking at it from a human capital perspective. You know that. But you know that you're facing your own financial difficulties. And hey, if you want a change or you want a soup, right? And I believe that you believe that the soup at the PPP is better than a German soup. All right, so you're there and you're collecting what you got to collect. And you drag along your good brother, Sherwin Holder, and Jermaine Figueroa is there with y'all. Look, I'll say this. If there's any more like you guys in APNU, come on, man, show your face, walk over now. Because APNU is going to come back as strong as ever. But what the party don't need is snakes in the grass or lions in sheep clothing. That's what the party don't need. All right? If you guys got a problem with what I've said, well, so be it. Who got a mortgage to pay and all this time. So it was never about the people. You see, we got to make these things about, when we start making everything about the people, then we're going to see Guyana really moving forward. Right? Then we're going to see all the parties, they're moving forward when it is just about the people. Because this is what it's about to me. The people. That's all I care about. The people. Period. Colleen Isaac saying, but that will never happen. Who will investigate who when there is so much corruption? Huh? You know, you could have to that point, Colleen, you have a good point. You can bring back a more robust Sarah, right? Where you have your team in Guyana, and then you have your high-profile auditors, of which I would like to be one of those. I will do it for free. I'll do it for free. I just have a belief that, when you take an oath to serve a people, you serve them. Serve them with dignity, respect, moral responsibility, and integrity. Okay? Don't take the oath to then turn around and deceive them. Right? And I believe that many should be walking into jail. We should have our seamstress across Guyana just making jumpsuits, orange jumpsuits. Right? I would like to take a look in on everything. Look, guys, the excuses that, and I'm going to touch on this quick, it's 21 after the hour. The excuses that Miss Susan Rodriguez and Mr. Zulfikar Mustafa are making, I mean, when I look at what's going on with them, you understand me? Those excuses can never stick. It is obvious. I can look at the surface and I can tell you when I scratch the surface and I get a little sneak peek of what beneath it don't look good. It doesn't look good, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't look good. So the PPP and their supporters with their investment 101 and all these type of things, come on, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. People are not stupid. People are not stupid. We see that there's a micro set of people in Guyana getting rich. And development in Guyana is not macro. We want to see macro development across Guyana. We want to see the other 5 ethnic groups. When students of those 5 ethnic groups graduate from university, we want to see jobs there for them. We want to see ethical hiring. And then you PPP supporters, y'all come on and y'all turn to everybody else and y'all say, go find work. You guys act like if you have a government that is spitting out jobs there for people and there's a lack of people to fill the jobs. I recall your installed President Irfan Ali throw Guyanese under the bus. That we don't have enough skilled Guyanese to work in the oil and gas industry. I blame everybody for that. I'm blaming everybody for that across the board. But more so the PPP because they sit there for 23 years. I'm blaming everybody for that. We should have already sent our people pre-oil, sent our people out of Guyana to get their training and schooling and their expertise on oil and gas. So once we have started, we would have started extracting. We would have had a robust team in place to work with Dr. Adams and company. They would have had a lot to choose from, a nice large sample. we failed. And why do we fail? The Honorable the Honorable Mr. Dexter Fort would have said, we fail to have these discussions across parties as a group, bringing our ideas and thoughts together, taking our egos and setting them aside, setting them nicely aside, and having productive discourses that will benefit the people of Guyana and by extension, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. But we don't have that. There's no rules of engagement between the PPP and the opposition. They come in Parliament, they abuse their costs, Parliament is over, and then look, once this budget is passed, y'all see how long it's going to take for Parliament to reconvene again. But let me tell y'all something. If they need a supplementary, and that can happen quickly, because when them buy don't split the money, who getting what and who ain't getting what, and a supplementary is needed, you're going to see how quick they're going to tell everybody, hey, we need to get back to Parliament. Parliament is convening again. By the time the opposition hit Parliament, they're hit with a supplementary budget. And that has been Guyana. That has been Guyana. Right? That has been Guyana. 2020 budget, 329.5 billion. 2021, 383.1 billion. 2022, 552.9 billion. 2023, 781.9 billion. And in 2024, we start with a $1 trillion budget, 1.146 billion. 2025, 1.382. 2026, 1.558 trillion. $3 straight trillion budget, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a 60% poverty rate. All right? And the PPP is sitting in Parliament, abusing and trying to make all of that make sense. Again, I ask everybody to sit down, the opposition, government, and everybody to sit down and think about how you guys do budget presentations, right? Like I would have opened the show saying earlier, it's backwards. It doesn't make any sense. Why have an argument after budget has already been passed? Right? Why not have a preliminary estimated budget available to all parties by the 15th day of January for them to peruse, look through, and then bring forward the arguments 5 to 6 days in February? After the arguments, you can take whatever the opposition bring that you think is good, right? And the PPP might look at me and not think that anything is good because they think that they're superior. But it shows that they're very inferior based on the way the country has been managed over the last 5 years, based on the fact that 60% of our people are in poverty, 32% abject poverty, right? Guyana is a lawless place. Ladies and gentlemen, as I come so close to closing off, I just want to touch on one last thing. All right? We have to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Look, we have to start setting good standards in our country. All right? And I just want to touch a base with for all the young people. There's a young man, apparently he's from Trinidad or wherever he's from, that has been going around having intercourse and sex with a whole lot of different women and all of that. While he and others may think that that is cool, you understand me? I don't look at that as being cool. And I want to say to the young people in Guyana, that is not cool. Don't look at that as an example, you understand me? Or anything that you would want to do. All right? Please. And to our women in Guyana, please start holding yourselves to higher levels. You're better than that. All right? You're better than that. And the way everything played out there, that was very lawless, it was very reckless, and it could have put a lot of people at risk. Okay? I believe that one can impact society in quite a few positive ways, and that is not one. Right? There are many positive things that one can do to get an interview, to get a program, to get on a program. All right? But what I saw there was disgusting, right? And we shouldn't condone behaviors as such. All right? I am looking at the time, ladies and gentlemen. It's 29 minutes after the hour, and it's time up for today's program. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining this Saturday. I appreciate all of you guys. Again, I give you my love you. As we go, and as you peruse the highways and the byways, downtown, Georgetown, all across Guyana, please be careful. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. Until next Saturday, over to you. Good night.
Inside the cup, look how evil set up.